Thank you for staying with us, everyone. Tonight, we turn our attention to Zamfara State, its security challenges, its political dynamics, and the performance of the current administration. Our focus tonight is a comprehensive scorecard of Governor Dauda Lawal since taking office, examining what has changed, what remains, and what lies ahead for the state. Joining me for this conversation is a senior lecturer at the Federal University, Guzo. Aminu Lawal is also a civil society activist. Good evening, Mr. Lawal. Welcome to Politics Tonight, and thank you very much for joining me on the program.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. So, the current administration, spearheaded by Governor Dauda Lawal, says is on a rescue mission. He has insisted that salvaging the states to reach a higher level of security and socioeconomic development is a priority for his government. But counting down to year 3, what's your assessment of this administration?
Thank you very much. One would think that given that Governor Dauda Lawal, while he was campaigning for office, security was one of the cardinal agenda that he ran with. So one would think that Governor Lawal will come to the office with a comprehensive plan to achieve security in the state. But sadly, over 2 years, what we have been seeing is mostly complaints and lamentations, with no significant, strides being taken, no significant effort being taken to address that issue. What I mean by this is that one will think that if you have, is one of the cardinal points of your government, you would have a data, at least we will plan for it. Get a data, plan for the short-term, medium-term, and long-term strategies to checkmate that problem. At the moment, I can tell you authoritatively that Zamfara State has no data on the IDPs it has, on the number of attacks, on the people killed or kidnapped. Nothing. So I don't think there will be, any serious government that will say, I want to solve this problem, and not actually taking tentative steps to solve it. Again, in the state, we have, Governor Dauda Lawal, when he came in, we were kind of optimistic that, this is the guy that will come and change the security narrative. He came in and established the Zamfara State Security Trust Fund. This trust fund the mandate was actually to coordinate the funding and the provision of logistics for armed personnel to ensure that security is achieved. But so far, about 2 years after, nothing. I'm one of the pioneer chairman of the trust fund actually resigned in frustration that, the government is not serious. Again, the Governor Lawal, when he came in, he established the community protection guards. That was a noble move, and it was, everybody applauded that. Even the society I ran also applauded that move. But where we realized that this is not going to be sustained, and there is no any serious effort, even though that protection guard was established, is when he decided to appoint the commanding officer for the what they call them. They are called Askarawa Zamfara. The commanding officer was one retired Colonel Endoto, who on all accounts was known to not to have the competence to run the organization. And the story around was that the governor decided to appoint him on a probationary period.
All right.
And
so what's your definition, Mr. Lawal, what's your definition of competence in this regard?
Okay, he was known to be corrupt. He was known to be politically partisan. He was known to be, not to take, he was known to hold grudges, because under his watch, there were high-profile killings that were traced to the community protection guards, some of which were actually, alleged that he was the one who ordered those killings. And those were politically motivated killings, not actually aimed at attacking or
are these allegations,
mitigating the security challenges.
Can you hold on, Mr. Lawal? These are grave allegations. Can you prove them?
Well, he has been taken to court. I think the case is still being, I don't want to preempt what the courts will say, and I don't want to be prejudicial. So we will wait for the cases to run their course in the courts.
All right, thank you very much. So let's leave it at that, since the case is still in court. But I'm wondering, you've just said the government, this administration has been insignificant or has not done anything significantly to change the narrative in Zamfara State. But I'm wondering, who gets the Nigeria Excellence Awards in Public Service on governance and security reform if the governor has not performed? Maybe not to the best of, your expectation, but above some level of expectation. Have you considered that?
Well, I've seen that. I have seen that he was given the award on governance and security reform, but I was actually questioning how could, somebody who ran our security sector the way he did could be awarded with such, an award, security reform. To be frank, for the security, of course, we know that the state government cannot do it alone, but then the state government also has its own part to play. In Zamfara State, we do not have any strategic plan to handle security. We do not invite the stakeholders. We do not listen to them. We do not do anything with them. The only thing I know the government does is that it provides logistics, monies, for fueling and all that to security personnel, which every responsible government has to do.
And you say that's not significant enough, Mr. Lawal. And you say that's not significant enough.
Yeah, it is not. Because, if you want to, for example, there were attacks yesterday. A bomb was, bomb exploded on a highway between two villages in one of the local governments, Bukwim local government in Zamfara. There are casualties, and there are some IDPs. In fact, Zamfara is littered with IDPs almost in every local government. There is no single effort the state government is doing to address their plight. No provision for shelter, no provision for medicine, no provision for food, nothing. And, this, I can understand when the governor says, he does not have control over security and armed personnel. But this handling of IDPs is 100% his forte, and he's not doing any of that. Nobody in Zamfara can tell you one grain of food that was shared to the IDP that actually came from the state government. 100% of it comes from the federal government. And, when you discuss with the government official or even the governor himself, the only thing they will open up to is that lamentations that they do not have control over military.
Have you had that conversation?
There's nothing they can do.
Have you had a conversation with the governor himself?
We have had that conversation several times, yes.
All right. So you have faulted his commitment to securing the people of Zamfara State, but are there other areas that the governor has performed better?
Can you come again, please?
You just faulted his dedication and commitment to securing the people of Zamfara State. So I'm asking, are there other areas, are there other sectors the governor may have performed well in the last 2 years? Yes. I cannot, tell you that he did not do anything well 100%. So yes, he has been consistent. He bought some motor vehicles for the security personnel. He distributed them. He has been consistent in providing, fuels and other logistical support that they needed. And of course, he established the Community Protection Guard, which also is doing. They are doing their best, so to say. I'm asking about other sectors.
Yes, he has done his part.
Mr. Lawal, I'm asking you about other sectors. You just highlighted...
about other... Yeah,
yes.
He is doing well in terms of infrastructure, yes. In terms of infrastructure, yes, but in terms of overall system personnel, system reform, I think there is much to be done. I will give you an example. At one point, the governor... commissioned the State Specialist Hospital for reconstruction and rehabilitation. I think they spent about 8 billion naira to do that. But on the very day the governor was launching that project, a patient died in that hospital due to lack of medical personnel. And we have told them severally that Zamfara is lacking in terms of medical personnel, medical doctors, medical lab scientists, nurses, and all that. And yes, the government is very slow in addressing that. I think I have been consistent in advocating for total reform in that sector. There is also, the governor established he declared a state of emergency in the education sector. And yes, he built schools, he renovated so many of them, but then when it comes to the system, I think actual system reform, nothing much has been done. Over the past 1 year, there is a process of recruiting 1,500 teachers. But so far, over the past, I think, 8 months or so, only 500 were recruited in a state that has declared emergency on a state of emergency on education. And these 500 have not been given appointment letters. They have not been posted as of yet. So I think, yes, there is, of course, he must have done some things in other areas, but there is a lot that needs to be done. Governance is far above building infrastructures. The systems have to be strengthened. The welfare of personnel have to be looked into. So many things have to be done that I think they are not doing enough for.
And do you also think you're being hasty with your level of expectation? I mean, it's just been 2 years.
Can you come again, please?
All right. Now, you've attributed Zamfara's current security challenges to the present administration. I was hoping you would, separate long-standing issues from those newly created. What makes the governor's approach? What makes the governor's approach uniquely inadequate?
Okay, actually, my problem with him is actually blaming his predecessors of not doing anything, while essentially he did not do anything different from what they did. Like I said, the immediate past administration, that was their punch bag, the administration of the Governor Matawale, they were taking care of IDPs. They have the data on IDPs. They know where they are. They provide them with food and shelter. Of course, it is not enough. There are so many of them, but at least they have made an effort. And the present administration, they are not doing anything. There was a time when one of the members of the State Executive Council asked me what I think their handling of security situation is. And I told him, this is a discussion that we need to have face-to-face, but because I am absolutely disappointed in the way they are handling it. That was a conversation we've never had again. So I think, there is a lot to be done. There is, he has not shown enough commitment as shown by his predecessors that he is very much willing to discredit. Matawale, we've seen so many times when there is an attack or there are mass kidnappings, he will send emissaries, he will send food, he will send money, he will send support, or he will even go himself to commiserate with the people. But the government of Dauda Lawal does not do any of that. And I think the only time he went for commiseration was when they were having a by-election, a rerun election in Oranamo, the South local government, state constituency. There were attacks within that constituency, and almost simultaneously with other attacks in other places, other parts of the state. But he only visited that constituency to commiserate with them. In fact, a day after visiting that constituency, he visited my local government to commission a mosque that is being built. Before reaching my local government, he would have to pass, the road to one of the communities attacked, but he refused to branch in and commiserate with them. Again, Dauda Lawal is the person who will call people that they are playing politics with security. So my thinking is that if we want to be serious about security, we have to drop blame game. We have to be serious about it. We have to face the issue head on.
All right. But it looks like you're contradicting yourself, Mr. Lawal. In one breath, you say the governor has not done anything. And in another breath, you say he hasn't done enough. What exactly is your grouse with the governor? And I'm asking because, on this program, I have listened to several stakeholders who have had different perspectives on today's realities of Zamfara State. And I think anyone saying the governor has failed on insecurity is not being honest with the facts. I mean, how can a governor who created a security trust fund, deployed over 2,000 guards, equipped security forces, renovated police headquarters, supported federal troops, and forged regional alliances, be called a failure? Please address that. Okay,
I will address these issues one after the other. Let us talk about, the recruitment of armed guards, the Askarawa. I think the plan was to recruit about 4,000 or so.
5,000?
About 300 pounds.
5,000?
4,000.
It was
5,000, okay.
Yes,
the plan was to recruit. Yes, so, but they recruited about 2,500 and they abandoned the project. You understand? And like I said, he appointed someone who virtually everybody knows is not capable of running that. And the story is that he appointed him based on, probationary period.
Again, that's kindly hold on, Mr. Lawa. That's an allegation you cannot prove. And tonight you've told me that case is in court, yet you continue to speak about it.
Yes, because, it showed that the person, the expectation of the public that this person cannot run that organization actually proved to be true, because, these allegations wouldn't have come up if that person is capable. One. Two, remember, before his removal, before the person's removal as head of Askarawa, he actually came out in radio stations, and that was essentially what led to his removal. He accused the governor of not funding them. He appointed them without, he bought vehicles for them, but no funding, nothing. There was virtually zero support. And let me tell you this, the two of the most incompetent appointees in the government of Dauda Lawal are his commissioner for security and his commissioner for humanitarian affairs. That tells you how serious he takes those sectors. And then let me move on to the other points you raised. Can you remind me some of them?
I would remind you, but we need to take a break at this moment. When we return, we'll continue this conversation. Okay. Stay with us, everyone. This is Politics.
Okay.
Thank you very much for staying with us, everyone. Zamfara security and politics is our focus tonight. And my guest tonight is Aminu Lawal, a senior lecturer at Federal University Gusau, also a civil society activist. Mr. Lawal, thank you very much for staying with us on the program. Before we went on that break, you accused the governor of politicizing insecurity in the state. But it's clear that the governor inherited one of the worst security crises in Nigeria. That's a fact that cannot be argued. Do you acknowledge that these challenges predate the governor or this administration?
Definitely, they have predated him by a long shot, yes.
Did you understand that question?
Yes, you said I should, do I acknowledge whether the challenges have predated his government, okay. Right?
All right. Because you had mentioned...
Yes, I have acknowledged that.
All right. And also because you've mentioned the former governor, do you think he handled it better or may have ended the scourge by now if he had a second term? What specific policies from that government do you believe were working and are now missing?
Policies in terms of security or in terms of which sector?
Security. That's been your challenge.
Okay. As far as I'm concerned, I think his only policy that I agree with is his stance on non-negotiation with bandits. He wants his government to negotiate with them from the position of strength, no weakness. I agree. But then you have to put mechanisms in place that will ensure that you will achieve that state, being able to portray some sort of strength before you venture into dialogue with the bandits. But no such mechanisms are being put in place as we speak. And like you said, the security challenge, Zamfara is the epicenter of banditry. If you look at our neighboring states, Katsina, Sokoto, Kebbi, even Kaduna and Niger, where they are having security challenges are actually places that bordered Zamfara. So we are the epicenter. If we don't get it right, nowhere we'll get it right. And in some of the calls we have made in the civil society organization I ran, we made several calls to the state government to actually rally around the northwestern governors so that they can have a unified or a united front. They can stand together and fight insecurity. But we were branded as opposition politicians, even though we have clearly stated that we are not politically partisan. So it means that our calls were not, accepted and acknowledged, but only for them to make a U-turn now at the Northern Security Summit, where the governor presented a paper that essentially outlined all the calls we've been making for him to do over the past 2 years. And again, they planned on, contributing money, 1 billion naira monthly per state, I think about 19 billion naira monthly, but then without any strategy, no stakeholder engagement, nothing. I don't think that is going to fly if they do not sit down and plan and have a
You're talking about the
security
19
strategy.
Mr. Lawal, you're talking about the 19 northern governors now.
Yes. Yes, I transitioned from Zamfara to the 19 northern states, what they have. I actually, okay, so this is what we are liking in Zamfara, and that is what we are liking in the region as a whole, in the 19 northern states. Without comprehensive security strategy, there is nowhere we can go in terms of, mitigating the security situation we have.
I'm talking about strategy, just for the purpose of clarity, Mr. Lawal. You think Governor Dauda Lawal should have continued negotiating with bandits?
No, I'm not saying that. I said it is one of his policies that I agree with.
Okay. And the last administration may have handled it in the best interest, based on advice, based on some advice from opponents or people who were part of the government. And I want us to look at it, because amnesty for bandits, provision of funds, motorcycles, reintegration packages, the intention was peace. But many citizens of Zamfara said on this program that that policy legitimized armed groups. That policy failed to disarm them meaningfully. That policy provided time and resources for them to regroup. And for fairness, if those policies were effective, why did insecurity persist or even escalate under the former government? Till date, reports say between 2020 and 2022 were the deadliest years of banditry in Zamfara state since 2011. Attacks spread to more local governments in the states, including Shinkafi, Zumi, Maradun, and the likes. What do you say to that?
Okay, first of all, it is the deadliest year that was actually reported, where the actual figures are being reported. One of the major achievements over the past 2-3 years is that the reportage of fatalities due to banditry has been greatly reduced.
How do you know that?
So what we see is not the actual
How
picture.
do you know that, Mr.
Because my organization is involved in taking banditry data in Zamfara State. We publish monthly data, the organization I ran until about September this year. So I know I am part of it, and we've been taking those data and we've been sharing that with security agencies. So coming to your question, I think if you noticed, the major difference between Matawalle and Dauda is that Matawalle did not sit down and be blaming the federal government for not supporting him enough. He actually took the bull by the horn. He tried to do everything possible to ensure that people, peace prevails, even if it is temporary. But Dauda Lawal took his position, he said, and he stuck to it.
There is a difference, Mr. Lawal. There is a difference, and the difference is that Bello Matawalle is a member of the APC. I'm sure he wouldn't have blamed an APC government for not supporting him.
That, I think, is simply a political statement. We have seen governors of Katsina and Benue, actually, who are in APC, but who were calling out the APC government due to killings in their state.
That is subjective.
I don't think that is the reason.
Okay.
Come again?
Please go ahead.
Okay, I don't think that is the reason. What I think is that in fact, in one of my engagements, because when we were, myself and the organization I ran actually gave Matawalle, when he was the governor, a hard time, in terms of security. We wrote consistently against him. We called him out. We said so many things against him. And what Matawalle did was not to shut us down, but to invite us to sit down and give him some of the suggestions, what we think he should have done differently in terms of his handling of the insecurity. And we advised him. And eventually, while we started doing that, elections were, coming up, and he eventually lost the elections. But I am confident that had Matawalle succeeded in securing a second term, with his readiness to listen to advices and his readiness to hold a security summit, which until I left, the organization I'm leading is actually planning to do, things will have greatly improved. So when Dauda Lawal came in, we expected that momentum to be maintained, and simply he came up with his own thinking, and he decided to do it the way he thinks is best for him.
But also, I mean, you of all people should know that banditry is a regional problem. One state cannot end it all. You know, there are stakeholders in Zamfara State who have come,
I agree.
Yeah, to tell me that the governor has proven to be one of the few northern governors championing coordinated security challenges across state borders. Is it possible that, you know, the challenges were deeper than any single administration? Is it possible?
Yes, yes, it is. Yeah, you know, the challenges, you know, one of the major calls we've been making to the government is to revive, you know, governance at the local level. Local government administration has to be greatly enhanced. You know, there is complete absence of government at the grassroots level, and that, you know, created so many ungoverned spaces, so many places for bandits to exploit. And in fact, in about 70%, and this is not an official figure, so I'm just, you know, telling you, in about 70% of Zamfara, there are no security agencies and there is no government presence. I worked in rural villages while collecting data for my, you know, academic researches and for the civil society organization I ran. So I have seen so many things. People even cautioned me from going into, you know, those rural areas. We have seen places that were completely abandoned. The only time they see government is when elections are, you know, coming up. So yes, there are so many, you know, precursors to this issue of insecurity. One of them is economic, one is lack of education. So many of them, you know, socio-cultural peculiarities also play a very important role in the escalation of insecurity. So yes.
All right, Mr. Lawal, so when you say insecurity in Zamfara State has been underreported, what exactly do you mean, and where are you coming from? And I'm asking because, you know, I find it very shocking, and very interesting at the same time. Because, you know, on this program, Dr. Abdullahi Shinkafi comes on this program practically every month. Very blunt man, I must say. And if that was the situation, he would have said it on this program. But that's not me discarding your point of conversation. But what is responsible for this?
I don't know, maybe because government does not want the information going out. They don't want to look bad. Their propaganda machine tells people that security is improving. Don't forget, in one of his many media engagements, the governor said that he has achieved 70% success in handling insecurity in Zamfara. But we all know that is not true. He himself know that is not true. So I think the major reason why they are underreporting these figures is because, you know, they do not want the true situation of things to be, you know,
because to the best of who is underreporting? Because to the best of my knowledge, we have many reporters from different stations on ground and newspaper organizations on ground. So how do they underreport such critical issue?
That clearly I cannot say, but what I know is that my organization that I run, like I told you, we are into taking data, security data, wherever there is an attack. We used to take even the names of the people kidnapped and killed before, you know, gradually we lost personnel, so we restricted ourselves to only the number of people attacked or kidnapped or released, as, you know, the case may be. We were taking those data, and then most of the reporters that you've mentioned have not been taking our data and, you know, informing the country of what is happening. We do it, we publish it in form of a flyer, and we share it with basically on every platform, and nobody is interested in that data. Two, because for us, we think that data is particularly important for planning, particularly important for security engagement, especially military engagement that is needed to be done in Zamfara State. And that data is important for the people to know the true extent of the situation at hand. Yes, the government has no interest in it. The reporters have no interest in it. We've been publishing it for the past, I think, 3 or 4 months now, but nobody is taking any interest. So yes, I said the casualty figures are being underreported, and yes, I have reasons for saying that. And two, because, you know, the security situation in Zamfara, like I said, it is the epicenter of banditry, and there is no way the security situation in northern Nigeria can be, you know, solved without actually tackling it from Zamfara State. It is where it started, and the route has to be, you have to cut off this snake's head. But so far, from both the federal government and the state government, no serious effort is being made. And of course, recently, just yesterday, we've seen an onslaught from the military, especially in Shinkafi axis. When Mastawale was the governor, my organization, even then, I was not in the country at the time, but we were running, we have extensive network that tells us possibilities of attack. They notify us, and we notify security agencies. And in most cases, they respond in time, and they have nipped so many attacks in the bud. So yeah, we know we have our reasons for saying that these figures are not being, the public is not being informed of the true picture of things in Zamfara.
And you've not told me those reasons, Mr. Lawal, but before we move on, it's important for me to say we're open to hearing from the governor's side. I mean, these are serious issues you've raised tonight. And also, severally, right, many allegations against the governor come from political rivals. And tonight, you've said it severally that the Bello Matawalle government listens to your organization. The Dauda Lawal government does not listen to your administration. How do you ensure you're not amplifying political propaganda?
Okay, so what we do is that at first, when we come up when we sit down and analyze the situation and we come up with a report or a press release, what we do is we notify the government privately. This is the problem in this sector, and this is what we think you should do to handle it. If the government listens, then there is no need for us to come public and publish it. But if they refused, then we come public and publish it. Perhaps the pressure from the people will make them, respond to our calls. That model has been successful for us. We've done that severally with the Matawalle government, and he listened to us on several issues. With the Dauda Lawal government. But like I said, when we come in with the Dauda Lawal government, we were seen as politicians, as oppositions. And that greatly impacted on the progress we've made so far in terms of, trying to champion grassroots development in Zamfara State.
Now, don't you think, saying this government has failed across all sectors is self-serving and quite political? And I'll tell you why. Because apart from the few times the governor has been on this program, I have been to Zamfara State. And journalists had the chance to speak with residents of the state. And what we took away from that interaction was that, yes, the people were very skeptical about this administration, having seen so many other administration come and go with nothing or little to show for it. But for them, this particular administration comes with a lot of hope. So when you say this administration has performed below your expectation, which alternative security strategy are you proposing, Mr. Lawal?
In terms of security?
Yes.
So what I am saying, my proposal is that the government should come up, to bring all stakeholders together.
Okay. Meaning the government should listen to your organization, right?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. He has his own advisors. They can also advise him on that. We have done our part. It is up to him to listen or not. What I am saying is that, and by the way, I have stepped down as the chairman of that organization, so my tenure ended, so I am no longer the chairman. So it is up to him to listen to whoever is in charge now. What I am saying is that the government needs to come together and develop a comprehensive security plan with clear mandates for local governments, state government, and the federal government, where we will be able to point out who is at fault and where. If the state government says the federal government is not helping it, it will be from that plan, with clear mandate, we will be able to say, okay, federal government is lacking in this area and that area, and the state government has done this and that, it is on responsibility, but the federal government is not complementing, or that the local government has done this and that and that. So, when you have that clear map and clear plan, you will be able to, significantly point to the achievements you've made, and accuse these other people that are not contributing to, solving this security situation. and people will actually listen to you because there is evidence on ground. But, coming out, on the media and saying, you've done all you could, you have no control over armed personnel, you have been providing logistics in terms of, all governments do that. But in fact, in one of his media engagements, he said he knows where the bandits is. I think that is not a new thing. So many people in Zamfara know where those bandits are. More basically, there is no bandit camp in Zamfara where that is hidden. All the people in Zamfara know where they are. So it is not a new thing. What is lacking is actually, taking appropriate measures to checkmate them or to take advantage of them. I'll give you one example. What I mean by calling all stakeholders is that the governor needs to sit down and invite even the APC people. We've seen that in Katsina. The governor and his senators and all the House of Representatives, I think they visited President Tinubu and they laid down their demands for him in terms of what they require to handle, to tackle security situation. We have not had that in Zamfara. A good Samaritan, a good friend of mine actually tried to rally the political figures in the state to do that. Do you know why he had a problem?
Where?
From the governor. From the governor himself. All other, stakeholders. And this guy has influence on the politicians from both sides of the debate. But he was able to secure the agreement of all the other stakeholders apart from that, the governor. Right. So where are we going? What are we saying? Again, I think, I don't want to sound too political, but there was an announcement or a declaration by Motowale at one point when he visited his village that he will bring in a naval camp or outpost in his local government. And the story is that the governor refused to grant them the land to do that. And remember, Maradun is one of the most
how did you get this information?
Local government thing. I have my contacts in the government. Actually, let me tell you, so many people within the government actually come to us.
Yes. Hold on, sir. In what government? Yes. The Dawda Lawal government?
Yes, yes.
You have your contact in the Dawda Lawal government. All right. Because of our time,
many people from the government. Can I finish making this point?
Please do.
Actually, so many people from the government that are not happy with the way things are being handled come to us, my organization, that, this is the problem. I think you need to talk about it. You need to write to the government to do this. But sometimes we don't act on those type of information because, we feel when their going is good, most people do not, will never come to you and say, this is bad or that is bad. So we don't act on that. But yes, there are information that when we get them, we verify they are true and we act on them.
All right then. But you seem to be a huge supporter, in local parlance, a huge fan of the former governor, Bello Matawalle. And that's the reason I'll take you up on those two questions just before I let you go. And I hope we have enough time for more questions. Do you believe this current administration has built, upon that foundation laid by the former governor, or has it taken a different direction? And what I mean is, as Governor Lawal continued any key project initiated by the former governor?
Yes, he started, the Askarawa he created was actually started by the former Governor Matawalle. And, I am confident that had the government shown enough commitment in the recruitment and the deployment of Askarawa, so many things would have, improved significantly. I think that is the only thing Governor Dawda Lawal built on that was initiated by Matawalle, the Matawalle administration. Yes.
So you're asking the governor to recruit more personnel?
At the moment, that is difficult. But if he had done that at the time
difficult?
He said
what makes it difficult,
things would have been different. Okay, yeah, when after the recruitment, there were calls for him to create some sort of insurance policy for the personnel and their family in case of death, because they are being, sent to fight with the bandits, and it is an issue of life and death. But the government did not do that. So many of them were killed, and at the moment, most of the people are not willing to join because they've seen what happened with their colleagues earlier on, and they are not open to that similar thing happening to them or their families. But at the time it started, people were so many optimistic. I think there were multiple applicants to join the Askarawa. At that time, if the government wanted to recruit 20,000 personnel, they could have done so.
Thank you very much for speaking with us, Mr. Lama. But quickly, before I let you go, in 1 minute, I want to take you up on the conversation about lack of unified leadership. This is a conversation I started about a week ago, and I like to throw it open when I get an opportunity to speak with Northern stakeholders. Now, many Northerners believe their leaders prioritize political bargaining and power preservation at the national level rather than solving regional problems. Is this a fair assessment?
Yeah, it is. I think I agree with that 100%.
So why has the region seen little or so little progress compared to its influence in national politics?
Because our leaders are not ready, to tackle our challenges head on. We do not have a plan at all. The North has a lot of potentials. While moving around the rural Zamfara, I've seen so many potentials, especially in terms of agriculture. But then none of our leaders is willing to, kind of spend money and develop that sector. We've seen what happened in Lagos. They have a development plan over a long term, which is working for them as we speak. But in the North, we do not have that. Our leaders are not that far-sighted. They are not ready to tackle those challenges. But what is important to them is political preservation and political influences at the national level.
All right. Thank you very much for speaking with us tonight. Aminu Lawal is a senior lecturer, Federal University Guzau, also a civil society activist. I mean, you've raised serious issues tonight. And if true, I hope this administration addresses them head on. Thank you very much for your time with us on Politics Tonight. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
And thank you very much for watching tonight. That's a package. But before we go, let's tell you that views and reactions of our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Meanwhile, you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at 12:30 a.m. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC.